Today we're on the adventure of the seas. Welcome to episode 19 of the vlog from our trip on the adventure of the seas in August of 2021. Quick little bite to eat here in the Windjammer. A little time for some breakfast before we go ashore. And then we're down on the lower decks of the adventure of the seas. You hear that very familiar tone as they scan you out to go ashore. This is the first of 2 days at Perfect Day at CocoCay. Right there you see across from us the Freedom of the Seas. They were in port this day. We were reduced capacity, about 600 people. I'm not sure what their particular capacity limits were on this cruise. This was, again, mid-August, so and I'm pretty sure they were sailing under reduced capacity, but I never really got a chance to find out exactly, what the level was. But here we sort of kind of start to make that real long walk all the way down the pier to the island. And then I'm kind of like, do we want to take the tram or do we want to walk? And so we decided to take the tram, but the tram goes way back up towards the front part of the ship. So we ended up having to walk all the way back up here just to get on the tram to go to the island. I've called this out a couple of times in my live streams that I do every Wednesday night, but I feel like it's important to sort of bring it up again from a planning perspective. If you're going on a Royal Caribbean cruise that's going to stop at the island, Perfect Day at CocoCay, there's two different ways to say it. I think you really have to plan carefully because you're only going to be in port for a certain number of hours. They're only allowed to have those doors open to where people can get off the ship for a certain number of hours per the Bahamian government, because we asked about that. So it's very limited, and it's a very long pier. So if you just come off the ship and then just start walking, I would estimate you're going to burn every bit of 20 minutes to 30 minutes just walking all the way down to the island as opposed to taking the tram. And same thing if you walk back. So the whole island, there's so much to do that you just have to really think through and plan ahead, like how your day is going to look. Are you going to have lunch on the island, or are you going to come back to the ship for lunch? Are you going to do the water park and then try to also do some of the other activities that are on the island, like the jet skis or snorkeling? Are you going to do the beach club? Because it has a restaurant over there. There's just so many different things to do, and most cruises will only have 1 day at the island. Our particular cruise had 2, but this was kind of an exception to the rule, because if you were to go through the Royal Caribbean website or even have a travel advisor sort of check for you, you would see that most cruises are only going to go to Perfect Day at CocoCay sort of once in the course of a cruise. And so you're only going to have one crack at it, and you really just have to plan through the day because you don't want to pay for something that you end up not using. Like in our particular case, we paid for the water park and never actually used it. And that's on me. I sort of learned the hard way because we planned the first day where we were going to do, or we thought we were going to do the water park and the jet skis and snorkeling in 1 day. And then on the second day, we were going to do just the beach club. And we found out the hard way that by the time we did the jet skis in the morning and then we did snorkeling in the afternoon after lunch, the day was pretty much gone. Next thing you know, it was time to come back on the ship, and your day at CocoCay was done. And then the second day, we had paid the money for the beach club, and so we wanted to spend most of the day over there and have lunch in the restaurant at the beach club. So they were super nice and super accommodating. They transferred our unused water park from the first day to the second day, and we did go through the water park just to get some video footage, but we just weren't really dressed to do any of the rides or any of that kind of stuff. So for all intents and purposes for my cruise, I essentially wasted money on the water park and never actually got a chance to experience it. So I learned a valuable lesson. When we go back in May of 2022 on the Harmony of the Seas, we're only going to have 1 day at CocoCay, and I'm going to know exactly what to do and what not to do when it comes to planning for that one. Also, from a planning perspective, one other side note here is the lockers. We tried to ask on the ship ahead of time about the lockers on the island, and never really got a concrete answer as to how many there are or where they're at or anything like that, only that there were lockers. So when we first get off the tram here, this was the first time we'd been on the island since it had been renovated, and you know, with this new look and everything. So we saw lockers right here next to the tram station, so we just put our stuff in a locker right here. But we were going to do the snorkeling, I'm sorry, not the snorkeling, we're going to do the jet skis, which is all the way on the other corner of the island. And as you'll see here in a second in the footage, there are lockers over there next to the jet skis. But we didn't know it at the time because we never really could get a definitive answer on where the lockers are located, because they don't really show up on any maps at all that we could find ahead of time. So the lockers are very easy to use, and it turns out they are all over the place on the island. Several different key locations for lockers. So just a side note that the lockers are available and they're in all the major spots on the island. So at this point in the footage, I'm actually switched to a little tiny 4K camera that's in a waterproof housing, so it kind of looks and sounds a little weird. You saw right there the lockers next to the little jet ski place, and then you got the little bar over here. One thing I would advise if you're going to do the jet ski excursion is to bring bottled water with you, because there are places on the jet ski itself to store the water, and it's definitely something you want to have with you. So plan on bringing a nice big bottle of water with you if you do the jet ski tour, which you see right here. So this footage is courtesy of my little camera in a waterproof housing, sort of attached to the side of the jet ski. I ended up recording quite a bit of footage, but I mean, it's kind of the same old, same old. You know, once you see a little bit of footage of the jet ski in action, it's pretty much the same old from that point on. The jet ski tour is a lot of fun. I will tell you this, it is sort of a flip of the coin as to how long your tour is, or not how long your tour is, but where you get to go on the tour, because it all depends on the people that do the tour with you and how experienced they are at jet skis. Because we've done a couple of different tours over the years where we've always had a slow family or a slow couple of people on the tour, and it's not their fault, but they end up slowing the entire tour down, and you don't go to as many places as you're supposed to go ordinarily because the people that are guiding the tour have to slow the tour down for the slowest group in the tour. So it's kind of a hit or miss as to, do you get to go to all the normal places that you're supposed to? And it just depends on, you know, how experienced the people are and what your pace is throughout the tour.